righty, Matt Stein, Matt Style, the Guru Johnson with you. 95.7 The Game. Guru back in the house.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
You didn't take too much heat yesterday. I wouldn't.
Well, you know what? I was tending to my wife. She was ailing. And I thought to myself in the hospital, it's not a Thursday. But Evan reminded me, there was still some material.
There was a little bit of material, not a lot. Not a lot.
Did you say Guru out, he's MIA, or did you say Guru handling some family stuff?
I said
you got there's two different versions.
I went Wiggins. He had some personal business.
Yeah, let's go.
If we find out it was family, then we would have gone ahead and said family.
That's all it ever is.
The boss was keeping it close to the vest.
Okay.
So we were a little worried because you usually say, yeah, it's all right, guys. It's going to be okay.
No reception in the, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, bottom line is this. Two biggest games of the year coming up for the Warriors.
Wow.
They're going to have to play at least one without Steph Curry tonight. But you can't lose both these games to the two teams that are above you in the standings. Give up two more games when it comes to home court if you finish tie with them. And listen, I listened to Myers today. I listened to Steve Kerr yesterday. Great interview. There's still optimism. Steve Kerr's talking about this team still capable of making a run. I heard that. All right. Well, what do you think?
Okay, it starts tonight because it didn't start Saturday night. Even though I know you fixed that and you rectified that by beating San Antonio in San Antonio. But I'll tell you this, Matt, or Steiny, this is my worst case scenario for the Golden State Warriors and Warrior fans. I'm looking at the standings. Tonight is so Tom Hanks, that's big, that if you lose tonight and somehow don't beat the Lakers Saturday, and you're just cemented into the 10th seed, at that juncture, what's one to do? And I'm talking about Steve Kerr. Play the youngsters and try to load management the guys for the one and done? Because let me tell you something. The last time the Warriors were in this situation, in part of the play-in, they went home. And that was a loss to the Lakers on the road and a loss at home to John Memphis. So, partner, I don't want any part of you and I talking about Warrior basketball and them not being able to at least get to 8th or 7th. So, again, no Curry tonight. Dallas's defense is not the best. They lost 5 out of 6 not too long ago. Luka's still phenomenal, but Steiny, their defense can be had. No Steph Curry tonight. It's going to take a village, and they got to just win this, not just for the numbers and the standing, but for the mental psyche, man, for not just them, the fans.
Yeah, you know what? I think they could actually lose tonight, but there'd be something good to come of it. Tonight's game, I get it. You're not playing with Steph Curry. But you know who you do have?
Who do you have?
You have your two guys who you think can do the job on Luka. You have two guys that you think can defend Luka as well as anybody else.
Hadn't even thought of
Wiggins and Kuminga. All right? Wiggins has been AWOL. Wiggins has had an underperforming season. Kuminga's taken a step up. He's been terrific offensively. But this is a game where I want to see the Warriors make Luka go 10 for 25.
All right.
And why wouldn't you be able to? In a game like tonight, I'm actually more concerned with Kyrie Irving than Luka Doncic if you think you've got the manpower to throw bodies at Luka Doncic.
Mr. Warrior Killer, yeah.
So I look at the game tonight as though let's see how it plays out. I'm not going to say if you lose it, you get ripped, because I want to see how they do against Luka Doncic. I mean, the way I look at it, you play well tonight, you hold Luka in check, you hang in there, and you're playing without Steph Curry. Well, that's something to build on. Now, I know you fall another game behind him in the standings, but the reality of the situation is you may be looking at a 10 seed.
Oh, Steiny.
Well, that's your own fault.
All right, I get that.
You're 34-30. You lost a lot of games that were close that you shouldn't have lost.
Oh,
now you're 34-30. The one thing that I didn't realize, and Evan brought this up before the show, there's never been a 9th or 10th seed that's won a series.
And I was like, Evan, no, the Heat, the Lakers. No, they were not 9th or 10th. You are correct. And Steiny, didn't it just feel like it was headed that direction, and it still may get there to where we were talking, you and I know we got Monty Poole coming up here at the middle of the show, but Steiny, we were talking about maybe the 6th seed. And that was tangible. So
that was after the Milwaukee game.
Yeah, man.
Before Steph got hurt and before they lost 2 of 3, one to the Bulls, one to the Spurs. 888-957-9570 is the number. And Steve Kerr was on with Dibbs and Willard yesterday. Mark Grandy in for Dibbs. And this is the one that stuck out, that still stuck out. You're 34-30. And you've lost a game to the Bulls and lost a game to the San Antonio Spurs.
I just feel like, the season it's long. It really is a marathon, and you're going to have stretches in both directions, during the season. Things either go well or they don't, and I feel really strongly that our team is primed if we can, really stay healthy here down the stretch, get Steph back and stay healthy from there. I feel like we can make a really good run, and you never know what happens. If you do that, you could end up in a good spot and set you up for a good playoff run.
Can we be more specific, Warrior fans? What does that mean? What does it look like? What does a really good run mean? I couldn't tell if he means really good run late in the season, the last 16 games or so, or he meant really good run in the playoffs.
Win, baby.
I heard him say anything can happen.
Yeah.
So clearly he's talking about the playoffs there, but I couldn't tell whether he meant make a really good run here late, get up to 8 or 7, and then make a run in the playoffs. Does this team have a playoff run in them? I just hesitate. I can't go there. As a 10 seed, I can't go there. The first thing is, can you win a couple play-in games to even get to the playoffs?
Whoa.
That's not a run. Beating the Lakers at home, if you're 9 and then knocking out the Mavericks and getting in against Denver or somebody like that, that's not a run. A run is then winning the first round. Do you see that? If you're a Warrior fan, you still hold out hope that this team can get through. They're going to have to get through the play-in, whatever that means, whether it's 1 game or 2 games, and it sure looks like 2 right now. But what are we really talking about? What is a run? I mean, to me, and I said this right after the All-Star break, the goal to me would be to get further than last year. And that seems like a long, long way away from where they are right now. 888-957-9570 is the number. Dallas tonight. I mean, I'm just looking at the standings. You get beat tonight. That's 38, 34. You're 3.5 in back of Dallas. They will have beaten you 2 out of 2 this year. That means they beat you 1 more time. You lose the tiebreaker, so add another game. I mean, you're just in big trouble if you lose tonight to Dallas when it comes to then looking ahead and leapfrogging the Dallas Mavericks.
No doubt. And I'm going to make your head explode, Steiny, and it won't be the first time, but this is where I'm at on the Guru metrics when it's Warrior basketball. I like what I see from the youngsters. I do, collectively. And when I say that, Kuminga, TJD with a great dunk the other night, Pods, we'll get into him and Wiggins, but that's not enough. And when you talk about run, you are right. We're talking about maybe win a series or 2. And there's only one way to me that this season could be better than last year, and that's if they go further. But right now, I cannot disremember or misremember Joe Lacob, shout out Bob Myers, Joe Lacob's comments about if this thing fizzles out, there's going to be big changes. And that's why I'm guarded, Steiny, and I'm guarded from the perspective of, okay, I am excited about the 3 I just mentioned, the babies. But at the end of the day, if they don't get past the play-in or even a first-round series win, then everything's on the board from a Joe Lacob standpoint to make big moves. And to get something, a substance, you got to give something up. So what I don't want for this team is them to lose tonight in Dallas, obviously, and then just be anchored in the 10th spot with about 15 or 14 games to go. I just don't know how you can get ready or what you do as a coach to prepare for that one-and-done possibility.
Well, you rest the starters. If you're locked into 10, I would absolutely. If
for
I'm
them to
locked
be
into
rusty,
10,
though, Steiny, that game,
I mean, they're old. Where's your old? It's not a matter of rust. Steve Kerr talked about the fact that he thinks this could be a blessing in disguise for Curry. For the last 10 days, he's going to get his body rested, at least, because of his ankle. We saw 2 years ago Steph missed games late in the year. It was a blessing in disguise. If the Golden State Warriors lose the next 2 games and they're looking at their rest of their season with 15 to go, and they're like, you know what, we can't get to 10. I mean, obviously, 9 or whatever it is, even move up. And obviously, you still try to win every game, but at that point, I'm leaning way more on the young guys to just bring home the last 10 or 12 games of the year, not really caring as long as we know we have safety between 10 and 11.
So you won't worry about momentum as opposed to rest.
Momentum, they won't be able to have momentum.
Well, you could create some.
If they have any kind of momentum, they're not going to finish 10th. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're what are they, 30 for 18 games? I mean, yeah, if you go 14-4, you'll probably move up the standings, but it doesn't feel like anybody feels like this team's got another 14-4 run in them. They had one just a couple of weeks ago. It finished. Do they have another 14-4 run in them? I'm not sure.
Well, let's hope they do, and it would start tonight. But I'm with you on the Curry and the whole body. Like, this was a blessing in disguise. So they won't have them tonight. And what did you say, Steiny? You're looking at who?
Kuminga and Wiggins. Let's go.
Man,
I mean, the biggest theme of tonight's game is that they're sitting with Luka Doncic, and if you want to hang your hat on something, okay, 2 years ago they did a great job on Luka Doncic. Everybody wants to talk about the title 2 years ago,
no doubt.
Okay, well they did a good job against Doncic 2 years ago.
You're right.
What happens tonight? They got the same guard. They got the same guys to guard Doncic tonight that they did 2 years ago.
They didn't have Kyrie Irving, though.
They got Gary Payton II.
Yeah.
They got Kuminga. They got Wiggins. They should be able.
I hear you.
They should be able to match up against Luka Doncic. What happens beside that, we can take a look at. But do something against Doncic tonight. Curry doesn't guard Doncic.
Oh, you're right.
So that part of it should be. I don't want to say an advantage for the Warriors, but that's you can only beat Dallas if you do a nice job against Doncic, and they got the personnel to theoretically do that against Doncic.
But also, too, Steiny, guard the perimeter, because like Saturday night, it didn't happen Monday as much, but Saturday night, San Antonio got whatever they wanted from three-point land. I'm picturing Tim Hardaway Jr. and the rest of what the Dallas Mavericks have if Luka's in pass mode or trying to swing the ball around knowing they'll get a good shot. But the boss asked me, how can you feel like what Steve Kerr said in regard to run, what does it look like? And I told him, and I meant it. I've been hoping, I've been lighting candles. It starts with Andrew Wiggins for me, and I may die on that hill. And right now, partner, again, I'm in the hospital and bleeding because it hasn't.
You've been dead 3 times.
Hey,
you keep coming.
No funeral yet.
Guy keeps coming back.
No funeral yet. But it starts with him, and maybe Pods got him going, calling him out the other night.
Yeah, I'm more likely to look at what Pods did to Andrew Wiggins the other night as a way of saying, I bet you Pods isn't the only one that feels that way about Andrew Wiggins.
It's kind of hard to argue off that, man.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
The other thing is, the bottom line is this. 18 games left. How the Warriors finish, it's going to be a theme the rest of the year. It's going to dictate what they do. Look, I mean, it's not going to be hard at the end of this season. You won a title 2 years ago. Last year, you made it to the second round. If you're telling me this year you don't make the playoffs, what are we doing here?
Well, no doubt.
Finals, second round exit, no playoffs. I mean, what kind of stalwart Warrior fan at that point would say, you know what? I think we tinker a little bit. We think the young guys are going to get better. Steph and Clay are still playing at a high level with Draymond. I know we didn't make the playoffs, but essentially we're coming back and going to try to be the that ain't happening. No, and would anybody really advocate for that? Warriors finished 45 and 37, and they get beat by the Lakers. Well, what are you doing now? You went from a finals team to a second round exit to a non-playoff team.
Damn, Evan.
I mean, it's not me. It's Joe Lacob.
Right, and he already called his shot.
So, that's what's at stake for the Golden State Warriors the next 3-4 weeks as we head out of the regular season. 888-957-9570 is the number. You heard Steve Kerr. He said he still feels really good that this team, if they can stay healthy, they get Steph back, they can make a really good run. What is that? What is that? That might just be a run to get them to 7 or 8.
Which is better than 10, Steiny.
It is.
Because at this point, beggars can't beat you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dug yourself this hole with all and everything that went with it. So you have to pay the price. But I'm looking at it like, give me what we saw, 14-4. I know that's overzealous, but give me something, man, to where we can look at this team and say, you know what? That pedigree, that moxie they have, you could take advantage of a young OKC team in the first round. Or Minnesota, possibly. Yeah.
You know what the run is? I'll tell you what. Here's my definition of a run: is they finish the season 12-6, and they get to 9, maybe 8, and that may be the run. That's it.
But
That's
we get a series, though, playoff series.
You must.
Oh man,
I'm not. You know what? I can't jump. I'm not jumping from 34-30 to you're in the playoffs.
I feel that.
Okay.
But that's not a run, though, Steiny, if you go 14-16.
It is for them.
And then you lose out in the play-in, like that would be major disappointment.
Well,
everybody outside of Steph and Dre should be on notice, like anything could change.
I mean, you just think that these play-in games, they'll go to L.A. and win a play-in game. Then they'll go to Dallas and win a play-in game. Okay. I don't think so. I think those games are coin tosses at best for the Warriors if they're on the road. And I know you say, well, they're better on the road. Okay, you really want to take your chances on the road against the Lakers rather than at home? I wouldn't.
Well, that's piggybacking off assuming that they were hot or had some kind of momentum going into that game. I hear what you're saying about how scary that game is, one and done.
The run to me is the end of the regular season. You can't assume this team's going to make a run, win 2 play-in games, and then get to the second round.
Well, what if I told you that doesn't qualify as a run? Steve had to be talking about a postseason run.
Well, let's listen again.
Yeah.
I just feel like, the season it's long.
Yeah.
It really is a marathon. And you're going to have stretches in both directions, during the season.
Right.
Things either go well or they don't. Yeah. And I feel really strongly that our team is primed if we can, really stay healthy here down the stretch.
Down the stretch.
Step back and stay healthy from there. I feel like we can make a really good run. And you never know what happens. If you do that, you could end up in a good spot and set you up for a good playoff run.
Well, there it is.
He clarified.
The good run
is in the season.
The good run is the season.
Yep.
Then anything can happen.
Because when you last saw me, Houston was a pipe dream, Steiny. Just look what the Rockets. I mean, I'm just saying they're on your bumper a little bit.
No, they're not.
If
the Rockets are on the Warriors bumper, the Warriors are on the Suns bumper, and they're not. Warriors aren't going to, and you know what? If the Warriors fall to 11, then whatever we're talking about now is irrelevant anyway, because that means they will have finished 7-11. What are they, 4.5 back, Houston?
Yeah.
Take that for data.
I mean, look at the Warriors. Warriors are 16-5 over the last 21. They're still in 10th.
That makes me want to throw my.
They're still in 10th.
Yeah.
Here's what we got today. The morning guys. Shasky and Bonte Hill had Bob Myers on earlier today. We're going to run part of that interview at 11 o'clock with Bob Myers, the former general manager and president of basketball ops for the Golden State Warriors. That's coming up at 11. Then we're going to have Monty Poole sometime around 12, maybe shortly after, depending on what his duties are today. But the Golden State Warriors at Dallas, at Lakers. And these are two of the biggest games of the year, if not the biggest.
You call it a must-win?
No, because they don't have Curry. But I'm looking for something bigger than Steph Curry tonight. I'm looking for this team to be very competitive and stay in that game tonight, even though you don't have Steph Curry. Because the issues with Dallas, to me, you're going to be able to score against Dallas. Yeah. It's what do we do against Luka?
All right.
Well, put up or shut up.
Oh, man.
Andrew Wiggins. Hey, Jonathan Kuminga.
No doubt.
Go shadow him up the court.
He did, 94 feet a couple years ago.
2 years ago.
Moody had some.
At what point do we say, at what point will that be put away? 2 years ago.
I'm being real with you, partner, because I'm the one that's holding on to it. A flame out here or this season ending in a disappointment.